Whiteboard. The lady. I love that. I wish you could change their accents or something, you know, do like some crazy Australian, like Crocodile Dundee or something. All right, let's see. So we are going to share my desktop, and you guys are gonna like this because I just updated my webinar. So I think it's quite spiffy. So musicology, sound matters. Why does sound matter when we're teaching online? I'm sure that a lot of you have been experimenting with different platforms online throughout the pandemic, or maybe even before. And you've probably noticed that there's lots of audio cutouts and all sorts of other things, unpleasant things. And so I've felt that there was a need for something better than what we had out there, and something that was piano pedagogy based. So you see my school logo there at the bottom. I own a small music school in Toronto, Featherstone Music, and we were previously doing in-home lessons, and we were partnered with the private school. So we did their after school activities. And now we're all completely online, even at the private school too. So it's been fantastic now that everyone has a platform to work on. So the problem that traditional video conference platforms have is that they're not really built for music, right? They're built for conversation. They're built for business meetings. I think that most of us know that. You know, you can go and you can add all sorts of accessories to it, but it's still not going to fix the foundation of them, the decade-old technology. So you've got your poor audio and video. It's a limited frequency range. You can't play high notes. You can't play low notes. You can't talk while your student's playing. It's just a general poor user experience. So the solution for us was a peer-to-peer format. And what that means is on any platform that offers group lessons, you're going to be going through a server, and that is going to increase your latency. So we are peer-to-peer, it's one-to-one only, and you have the lowest latency out of any platform out there. We are planning on building group in the future, but it will be a separate room arrangement so that those teachers that are teaching one-on-one don't have to suffer through that extra latency, because anything with group is going through a server. We have a full duplex audio, and what that means is it's kind of like a phone call. You have layered sound. You can hear all of the sounds. So if you're teaching a lesson and there's an open window and the next door neighbor is cutting the grass, that grass cutter is not going to cut out everything. You're not going to get that instability of audio. It's just going to all kind of mesh together. You're going to hear what is in front of you more. And then having all of these features and this better audio, it creates more of an in-person sort of experience. And it's more as if you're in the same room, is what we've been told by our users. So we are available for iOS as well as Chrome web browser for anybody that doesn't have iOS products. The iOS is a downloadable app from the App Store. You search Musicology online, and everything else uses the web app through Chrome. So we often get asked what makes us different. We are different because it is a purpose-built platform. So that means it's built specifically for music. It has been tested for music. We've done all sorts of audio tests where we've tried to break the code, and it's just fantastic. You can hear everything. It's a proprietary platform, so you cannot find our audio code anywhere. You don't need fancy accessories like microphones and headphones. We all know that our students aren't investing in those kinds of things. So the benefits of Musicology is it has audio built for music, interactive features, and we designed everything so that the student can interact with the teacher at the same time, which then creates less exhaustion for the teachers, because you don't always have to be presenting yourself and flailing about, and more engagement for the student, because you can kind of let them take a little bit more control of the lesson. So why online? Why do you guys teach online? Why do we teach? Why do I teach online? There's no zone restrictions. Obviously, you can teach anybody. Like our nice teacher that we met in Florida there, she can teach her students in New York now, right? And when she's in New York, she can teach her students in Florida. So you get to move around a lot more. Definitely great for sick days. Nobody wants to have anybody with the sniffles or anything at all in their studio. Bad weather. I know that Lynne up there is in BC, and they're going through floods right now. So, you know, the road's blocked by a giant flood, go online. You've got a snowstorm, go online. Less car trips. For myself as a parent with young kids, I don't want to be driving my kids around. And also I don't want teachers in my house, just because it's, you know, you have to put pants on then, right? It's easy to open up the laptop too, right? You just send your child or your student to their piano, and off they go. So our top 5 features. There's me in my little online studio here. Top 5 features, private student rooms. Everything has, every student will have a secure room code. It's the same code all the time. So you design that for your student, and then you just send it off to them. All they do is log on and type in the room code, and they connect with you at the time of the lesson. So there's no links to be sent. There's no extra codes. There's no registration for your student either. You have quick lesson switches. So this little list that you see here, I can click on this lesson and then it connects, and then I can end the call and then click on the next lesson. So it's very easy to switch from lesson to lesson. It's great for studio organization as well, because each room you can store your students' music and files in there. So you don't have to be screen sharing or always accessing different parts of your computer. It's already there for you. So number 2 would definitely be the multi-camera option. I think teachers over the pandemic have gotten used to so many cameras. I've heard teachers who have had up to 6 to 8 cameras on them. And so you can hook up as many cameras as you want. I just have a little overhead camera. I actually don't use it all that much, because I find I use the features a lot more. But you can certainly hook up as many as you like. It's compatible with OBS and ManyCam. There's an easy camera switch button, which is right here. It looks like a little camera with a circle around it, and you can just rotate through all of the camera angles. Screen share. So we do have screen share, which is web app to web app only, not on the iPad. iOS, it doesn't allow for it for us. We do have a share audio, that's in the Chrome tab, so you can share your YouTube clips, and then share iPad as well. So that's pretty easy to do. If you're on a Mac, you can share through QuickTime. You just go to new movie recording, and you'll see your iPad in the bottom of the menu if it's plugged into your computer. If you're on a Windows device, you can download the free app called Lonely Screen, and that will AirPlay your iPad to the screen. Our whiteboard is definitely a popular feature. So this is a little bit different than Zoom, where people were screen sharing and annotating. We do all of the screen sharing for music on the whiteboard, although you are certainly able to just use the screen share function if you're comfortable with that too. But there is no annotation on the screen share. So that is on the whiteboard. And what's great about that is that all the annotations are collaborative. So there's no extra settings. I'm not a big settings fan. And you just basically draw on the screen, and your students pick it up so quickly. So this little photo here is I was demonstrating, we were working on dynamics that day, so, as you can probably tell. And I actually saved this file to the room with the dynamics so that my student here could go in and click on this little 3-dot icon, and they could access all of the markings that I made if they maybe didn't, if they forgot something. So all of the files that you load into your student's room in the teacher portal are found in this 3-dot icon. You can also drag files over to the whiteboard if you want to, if you're inspired during the lesson and want to do that quickly. So number 5 would be our Grandstaff. This is my favorite feature. This keyboard here is playable. You can take the labels off. You can put rainbow keys. You can even select this little square here. You can select different colors. It's MIDI compatible if you have a keyboard. Although you don't need a keyboard, an electronic keyboard, I should say. You can certainly play the on-screen keyboard instead. And then these notes here, so this little color pop palette is, it's the notes menu, has all sorts of annotations that you can drag around collaboratively with your student on the screen. So you can play all sorts of games with them. You can build melodies. It's a really, really great tool. This is the teacher portal. And what this is you have your studio management, and just trying to move these Zoom tags out of the way here. Studio room management. So these are all of your rooms. Your student name is how you would build a student room. Then you'd put in the room name, and then you'd make a room code here. So it can be whatever you like. I like to keep it simple. Somebody also suggested using their first initials and then their students' first and last initials. And that makes a little code and then maybe a number after that. And then that room will pop up on the bottom here. You'll see them all listed. When you click on that room, this will come up, and this is where you can upload files. So this is all in the teacher portal, portal.musicology.ca, and there's links on our website too if you don't remember the URL. So you can upload files from your computer or you can drag them over. So we are COPPA compliant and GDPR compliant. What that means is that we do not collect any data. We do not sell to advertisers. That is why we do not have a free version of our platform, because we are not collecting that information. That was something that was important to me. So thank you for listening to my presentation. You can reach our website at musicology.ca. I can give you the promo code WebApp, and that will give you 50% off your first paid month. So there's a 14-day free trial. And then your first paid months, you would receive 50% off with the promo code WebApp. We do have a support line, support at musicology.ca. If you need some extra assistance, but everything's pretty easy to use. And we have a really wonderful Facebook group, Team Musicology, where you can ask questions or just post your experiences. And that ends my little presentation. So what I'm going to do now really quickly, I'm trying to get through this fast so that we can get to talking to Lynne's great ideas. I'm going to screen share the app for you. So what I'm doing is signing in with the same authentication that I used when I registered, which was just simply my, my Apple ID. Certainly, if you're not an Apple user, you can just sign in with your own passcode and username. So here we are. This is what the web app looks like. This is your logout button. These are your student rooms. So this is where they all come up. If I click on one, you get this little spinning rainbow. It says waiting for student. And on the student side, it'll say waiting for room, blah, 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 whatever it is. If you are connected to a call, this little lock icon will appear over here. It's not appearing now because I'm not actually connected to anybody. And what that lock does is it will lock your student out from accessing any of the icons, because we all know that students tend to get a little button happy, right? This is the settings menu. So if you're a settings person, You can access all of your cameras here, your audio output, video input, or you can look for new devices. There's some extra little settings here. You can play with noise suppression, echo cancellation. Those are always defaulted to on, but certainly you can play around with them. Auto gain is more for vocalists. Maybe if you're teaching opera, you may want to try that auto gain button. These are our fun seasonal emojis. So we change them every season. I think our next season would probably be Valentine's Day, I guess. So I'll have to put in some cupids or something there. We've got your usual mute microphone and mute camera. These are your camera, extra camera icons. So this one here is a pop-out remote user video. And you use this one for screen share if you want your student, you want your student's video to follow you around. So you would go down here, you would press screen share, and then you can press this button here and your student's camera will follow you around throughout your computer. You can also move your camera around too. You can switch the angles and then you can pop it back into place. And then this is our handy little camera rotation button. So now I've switched over to my overhead. Now it's going to go to my FaceTime camera, and then I'm back to my webcam. This one will enlarge your screen and make your students smaller so that your video appears bigger if you want to make sure that you're presenting something properly. This is a full screen icon. I think that one is pretty standard. So here's our whiteboard. I'm just going to delete the drawings that were there. Whatever you drew on there before will be saved. So I'm going to access a file here. Let's do dynamics. So I've got my file. I can move it around and reposition it. And you can like position it over here and then bring up a new file on the next page to put as many pages as you want up there. If you have a 6-page song, you could always make them smaller and add them there. So however you like to arrange them, you can do that. I'm just resizing it by pulling this arrow down here. And I'm going to click add to background. Now this toolbar is in the way, so I can minimize that by pressing the gray bar. And then we can go ahead and we can write on it together. So I'm just using a mouse, and you can certainly, if you have a touchscreen monitor, you can use that. Or these are fun too. This is a graphics tablet. They're about $50 Canadian. I'm sure you can probably get them cheaper in the States. It's just a really basic one, but it comes with this little pencil that acts like a mouse, and you can just sit it on your lap and write with it. So it's a really great accessory. So then now if I wanted to save this file, say I had like 6 files placed on the whiteboard, then I would just click this and I would name that file, and then I can save that to the student's room so that I don't always have to load all of the files up there. And if I draw on it and I want to get rid of the drawing to keep the file, I can press the clipboard. If I want to get rid of everything, I press the trash can. And then of course, our handy little lock button if I don't want my student to draw all over the screen. Sometimes students get in, even like older kids. I have a 13-year-old that I teach, and she will often just sit there and doodle while I'm teaching her a lesson. But she hears everything I say. So if you want to get rid of their doodles, you can just trash that and lock them out. And then of course we have our emojis too on the screen. So next we have our Grandstaff. This is my favorite feature. I love this because you no longer have to teach them really or show them where middle C is or F. You can play a game, you can make up all sorts of things. You don't have to rely on your cameras and your own hands to do that. Your students' auditory skills really go up a lot when they're using this platform. And so you can take the labels on and off. You can switch from sharps to flats. You can switch to rainbow keys. And you can adjust the volume here. And you can change the colors, which is a lot of fun. It's also MIDI compatible. So this is really great for demonstrating inversions. All sorts of things you can do. This is our notes menu. And you have all the notes there that you can drag around, time signatures, and I'll let go there. And numbers here, so you can tell them where their hand position is. We've got fun little emojis for the kids. We put some of these colored dots in, like the whiteboards that you see for in-person lessons. So these are really great for teaching inversions as well. I find inversions are like some of the hardest things to teach. But this just sort of makes a fun game out of it. So we've got your triplets. We have most musical symbols there. I think we're missing a few, but the majority of them are there. 16th notes. And then this is where you would see your MIDI input source. You can also change the sounds. So we've got electric piano, guitar, which I think sounds a bit more like a harpsichord. The church organs, fun for Halloween. And then you have your emojis up here. Now, what a lot of teachers like to do is they will actually keep their on-screen playing, and then they'll turn their volume down on their keyboard so that you'll only hear the, let me just change that sound. So you'll only hear the on-screen keyboard. However, you can mute the on-screen keyboard and just play your piano sounds as well. And then, of course, we have our emojis there. So there's a lot going on the screen right now. Let's get rid of some of those. So to delete these symbols, you can highlight it and delete one at a time. Or you can just trash the whole thing. And then we go back. We have a metronome here. I'm going to end the call so you can hear the metronome. So the reason why I ended it is because the metronome audio is pushed from the student side to the teachers. So we have a cat and a dog. I prefer the normal click. Screen share is here. So this is just a basic Google screen share. I'm not connected to a room, so you can't see that. But it's pretty straightforward. And then we have our guitar fretboard. So this is a lot of fun too. It's just the same as the piano one, except for we have some additional guitar features as well. And then you can also change that to ukulele. So that is musicology. Do you guys have any questions before I move on to Lynne's great presentation? Okay.
No questions. I think you covered it all.
All right, Christine, thanks. Okay, so I am going to log out there. And here is Lynne's presentation. So I'm actually really excited to hear what Lynne has to say. So Lynne is a teacher out of BC, and she has a small teaching studio. She lives on an island, and probably not the greatest internet. Lynne, do you have?
Yeah, it's a big island. Vancouver Island has almost 1 million people on it. It's quite large.
So
yeah.
Got good internet.
Oh yeah, we've got good internet. If you've got, we got TELUS, we got everything.
Oh, perfect.
If it was on a tiny Gulf island, then you might have a little more issue with connections. But no, I'm on the big one.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
So we're so happy to have Lynne here today. I wanted to show you this little video that we made the other day. And she was showing me this really neat song that she plays and she sings at the same time, and the audio doesn't cut out. So I wanted got to show you guys this. Okay, go ahead, Lynne.
Yeah, so this is the song. It's from Road Trip. And to the little poem there, go, go, go. And they get their hand position. And then here's the page. Shows them where the notes are and where they are in the stuff. So I'm just going to stop sharing.
Yeah, show us.
And there.
Perfect.
So here we go. It goes like this.
Okay.
Go, go, go. Don't go slow. Get there fast. Go, go, go. Go, go, go. Don't go slow. Get there fast. Go, go, go. And then we get to G and back down to C at the end.
Oh, that's so fun. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Lynne and I were playing around on Musicology the other day, and we were playing some little duets too, and singing and playing piano and just having a good old time. So, Lynne, I would like to ask you here, why did you decide to start teaching online?
Well, a lot of it, could be COVID, but a few months before, I actually had two students. I had been thinking of teaching online for quite a while, but I had two students that were local that moved to Saskatchewan. They moved from BC to Saskatchewan. So I started teaching them online since January that year. And so they're kind of my guinea pigs. And then when COVID hit in March, we were on a spring break here at the time. So I was already on a 2-week break. And so during that time, I was like, whoa, what's going on with the schools and everything? And so everything went online. And so I just started, I got in contact with my students and said, hey guys, we're going to try this. We're going to go online. And every single one of them went online with me. And so, it was tricky for some, this is new, but we made it. We got through to June. We even did an online recital. So yeah, it was that was one of the big reasons. And not to mention that I also had it set up for students that were sick and maybe couldn't make it to me, or I actually would go to the school and teach out of the school at that time. So, it also saved me driving around.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And how did your recitals go?
Well, actually, now that I think of it, I think the Christmas one was the first one that was online. I had people record themselves at home so they could set and decorate their piano. I said, you get all dressed up and you can record as many times as you want and make sure you got it, the way you want it. And some kids were singing and sing by their Christmas tree. And so that they would just upload it to a platform that I provided the link for, Flipgrid, I think it was. And then I would get that all together. We would have a big Zoom online party. And our first online recital party, as I always call them, even in person, we had people from Jamaica and all around the world tuning into this. So it was really kind of cool because people could see their cousins or their nieces and nephews or grandkids online. And, the kids were eating popcorn, watching themselves. So, but
And
yeah.
tell us about this this song or this rhythm exercise you have up here.
This was one of my, I think she's 9. And so this was a timed test. This was using the iPad back in the spring. And so she had, I think we started at 60 seconds. So she had 45 seconds left at this time. And she had to put all the answers on this math and before the time ran out, or see how far she got. And so she was all writing on her iPad and trying, it's difficult to write on there, but she got it. You can see those numbers. So
yeah, she did great. Wow, she got all of those in 45 seconds. That's a fun game. I like that. So the timer is available on the iPad. There's a few differences between the iPad and the web app, just because Apple has certain features that you just can't get on a web app. So this timer here is on the iPad, and it's a lot of fun. So what compelled you to jump on a new technology during its alpha phase? Learning a new platform while navigating through a pandemic must have been a lot to handle.
Yes. Well, as you know, some platforms you just can't hear, and sound would cut off, and students would be like, I would lose their attention, I think, a lot more, because they wouldn't be hearing me. There would be lag, there would be connection issues. And, if you played something, then you wouldn't hear the rest of it. And be like, did you play the whole scale? And so that was a big issue. And so I was trying all these other platforms, and I'd heard about Musicology even before it became live. And I was like eager to try it and eager to get going. Even told my students, we're going to try this new thing, and, get prepared the parents for trying another new thing. So the ones that could do it at that time, it was just on the iPad. And so all the ones that had iPads, they went on it, and they were like, wow, we can hear you. Like, this is really good. And it kept the kids' attention. And yeah, so.
I love this little picture. Tell us about this. I see whole notes, and is that a dotted holdout?
This was actually my 3-year-old. Actually, she's 4 now. And we were doing an exercise out of WonderKeys where if the coconuts were in the tree, I don't know, I think that was a coconut tree. I don't know. I drew it. I'm not an artist. She drew the sun. But if the note was held, then she would draw it in the tree. If it was like this, she drew it on the ground because it went plop on the ground. So it was a listening to see if she was hearing the difference between a held note and a.
I love that. Oh my gosh. I have a 3-year-old too. I don't teach a 3-year-old, but actually I have a 3-year-old, and I could see him being totally all over this. That's so cool. I would have never even thought of that. Did you make that up?
I believe it's in the book, they say draw it on a piece of paper, but.
Okay. But you took it to online and did it on the whiteboard.
Yeah, and use coins or something. But when we're on the whiteboard, then we just drew it. So
nice. I love that.
Adaptions.
Oh yeah. No, you have to be creative, right? I can see you're a WonderKeys fan. So for those of you that don't know WonderKeys, it's a wonderful method, also from BC. And
not far from here, actually.
Yeah. And she has users all over the world. Like, she has quite a fan base, and I think she goes all the way up into the teen methods now as well, but as young as preschoolers. And I think that's where she started, was the preschool kids. So what have you learned since leaping into the online teaching world? How do you feel it benefits you and your students compared to in person?
It's been pretty good. Like last year, all my students, like from September to June, 95% came or online. I had one little girl would come bi-weekly. She was 5, and the parents preferred that. And she did better sometimes with the in-person, which is obvious with the little kids. It's really hard to keep their attention sometimes. But, what was the question?
What have you learned since leaping into the online teaching world, and how do you think it benefits your students?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially for the little ones too. What's the difference, I guess, from in-person and online with them?
They some of them really enjoy this feature. We can play around on the iPad, and it's kind of unique to be online. I have parents that will sit by them, the young, really little ones, because sometimes they just need that help with the direction. But I find myself changing direction every 2 to 3 minutes anyways. So I also have my
It's funny that you said that, because 2 to 3 minutes is actually what Disney does. I don't know if you knew that. It's like a scientific psychological fact with children that their attention span can't last longer than 3 minutes. So you always need to keep moving with something else.
Yeah, and it's great because I think a lot of parents like it. Like I have someone who lives 45 minutes from here, and it would be a real pain to be driving here every week for her. She's driving them all over the place already. So this is really convenient for her that she can just, plop them in front of the piano and, be close by as well. And we just do our lessons, and it's one less thing for her to have to drive, which she really likes. And that's for all my students. This fall, I had several that said, yeah, we want to do online, and they're only like 10 minutes away. So, plus, with COVID, people are just trying to stay inside. So that's another benefit. I have not picked up a cold from any students. So,
right.
So, this fall I have about 50% that are in person, but we also do online group sessions as well. But even with using group sessions, Musicology is not group yet, so I use Zoom, but I'm still sharing from the app. Like we did a composition last week. I think I shared that picture.
Yeah. So
Composition.
she did a composition where on the Grandstaff feature, and I think she gave them each a bar, and that they had to compose something in each bar, and then she played the whole thing.
It was quite interesting, but they enjoyed it. So
Yeah, you have a lot of really great ideas. And what is this game here? Place a coin over each bird, concealing the note name. Oh, so did you cover it up? Did you draw over it?
yeah, we blotted out the letters at least, and then we had flashcards that I would hold up and say, okay, what's this note? And so she would say what it is, or she had to pick which bird she thought, if she knew it was G, which bird has G on it. So she would pick one and she would circle it, because when she points, I can't see what she's pointing at. So she would circle the one she wanted. So then we would uncover its belly and go, oh, you were right. And she got a point on the side. So it's another adaptation to not having the coin usage, right?
So it's kind of like memory a little bit.
In a way, but she didn't know where they were. I had a cheat sheet over here, so I knew which ones were left.
And she looks quite young too. How old is she?
She was 6 that time with this. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think maybe you need to teach my son piano. You have such great ideas. And so going with that theme there, I know that you teach a lot of young students. How do you keep them engaged during your lesson, and what methods do you use?
Well, as you know, I'm using WonderKeys. I'm also using Kitty Keys. I'm also using my first piano adventures, and another one called Road Trip. Now that's a lot, but really most of the time I'm using WonderKeys. But some kids, each kid learns differently. So some work great for some kids, and some work great with other methods. And so I'll try them on a couple weeks, and then, oh, you know what, let's try this one. And then they just like flourish and they do really well. So, the first few weeks of a lesson with a new student is just like, well, let's see how they learn, and we'll find the best method for them. With the really, really young beginners, like 3 to 5 year olds, I would mix in like something like this on the screen, where I'll play a video, a song. Dance Doggy is the one that's there. Here's our music, the dog. And so this is a puppet. And so I'd say, okay, we're going to warm up. We're going to start our lesson. And we put Dance Doggy, and they dance. So you can see the little girl in the corner there. She's dancing. She's whatever. And so we'll dance with the puppet and, get them moving. So that's something that I do. I change it up. Okay, we're going to find all the C's on the piano, or the 2 black keys, and just do something different every 2 to 3 minutes. And having the parents nearby, because sometimes they need help with the turning of the page, or finding a pencil, or just redirecting, and maybe helping to find, oh, where is that? Maybe why don't you show mommy how to do that? Just to help them. Maybe the teacher to mommy, show mommy.
I do that too. Or if I have a really young student that is just like not having it anymore, then I'm like, okay, well, we're going to teach your mom then today. And then I'll start teaching the mom, and then the child will be like, no, I want to, I can do that better.
Yeah.
And what is this? This is a website here of songs?
Yeah, it's a music play. And I don't have access to it anymore because it's a membership. So I had access to it last year, but it's an amazing program. She's gears more towards like teaching in schools. So lots, like from K to 6, I think. So many features on that website. This is the old version, but they have a new one now. And this is where I would get a lot of the songs from.
And they're more like movement songs.
Movement songs. There's tapping songs. There's rhythm, like all kinds of things on there, like Poison Rhythm, where you watch a video and they can't tap this rhythm, but they can do all the other ones. So I've often used that. Yeah. Lots of great things there.
Oh, that's so neat. And so tell us about your journey using Musicology. What were your students' reaction and what did their parents think of the platform?
Well, they were so eager to try it, and so we were right at, with the beta, and we're getting right in there, and they just loved it. The first lesson, they were like, "Oh, let me just try this," and it really helped them focus. And they were, especially the ones that were having trouble hearing me, they're like, "We can hear you now. That sounds so much better." And the parents were enjoying seeing their kids just really more engaged with the lesson. And yeah, lots of little features. I don't even get to use all the features each lesson because we run out of time. So, but the greatest thing, I'll put a little emote out when they do a great job of playing their piece or whatever thing we're working on. And when they'll go, she's always like, "Mommy, she gave me a star," every time she gets one. And they get to choose one too. I haven't really had to lock a lot. Sometimes I do, but a lot of times they're pretty respectful and don't just keep pushing them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I find the feedback that I hear is that the first 3 lessons is really like exciting for the kids, right? The first 3 weeks of lessons, and then it kind of like you get more into a groove. But the first 3 lessons are just like, whoa, like it's almost like a game. I can actually interact with my teacher again and press things with them, and I don't just have to watch them. And yeah. Well, thank you, Lynne, for joining us, and thank you to our small little guest group today. And this was actually really nice. I actually enjoy doing a smaller groups. It's a little bit easier sometimes. Larissa and Christine, do you guys have any questions about teaching methods, teaching young children online for Lynne, or any questions about musicology?
And for Lynne, so you kind of had a couple of different piano resources. Could you share those again? Because I'm trying to gather some resources. I'm familiar with WonderKeys, but you mentioned a few others.
Yeah, there's Kitty Keys. That one I started it out with as a group class in person initially. That's where I got a lot of my students a couple of years ago. But I've been using a little bit of it in some of the lessons. I would like to do it. I would like to try a group class with it. That would be interesting. But it's got a lot of great features, and that's actually where Music the Dog comes from. There's lots of coloring pages. So I had this puppet from the dollar store, so it looks like Music the Dog from that series. The other one, like My First Piano Adventure. Have you heard of Faber?
No.
I don't know if we can type it out, but don't have my books nearby, but that's another great one. And there's like 5 friends that they get to learn the piano with, and I've used it for years. And
they have digital ones too.
Yeah.
They have
what is it called? My First
Piano Adventure.
So
okay.
Yeah, they're actually sort of do you know the RCM, the Royal Conservatory of Music? Yeah. So they're sort of a great they're of the same sort of family. The Fabers are part of that. It's Piano Adventures is the whole series, and it starts off with My First Piano Adventure, and it comes with like a little CD, and thanks, Larissa. Thank you for coming. And it starts with a little CD, and then there's lots of like movement games and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun. And then it can go on into the higher levels. What I generally do is I use the My First Piano Adventure for age 3 and 4, and then the older kids, like between 5 and 7, I'll start off with the primer, and then I'll do level 1 with them, and then I'll go into the RCM after. So that's sort of like my method that I do.
Okay.
Lynne, what do you do with Piano Adventures?
With the My First Piano Adventure?
You do the rest of them, or do you just do that?
Generally, I've just been doing the first one and I've gone into the second one, but sometimes I had a little boy that was doing it and I just actually converted him over to Piano Pronto last year. He was moving so quickly and it was moving too slow for him. So, and he's 6, almost 7 now, I guess. And so he's now in Piano Pronto almost through the first book. And he caught up to all the other kids that are even older than him. So, but, and speaking of Piano Pronto, that's another one I use is called Road Trip Adventure. And that's the example that I was showing in the video where they were going, go, 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 that one. And so they get to color in the book. They have a car and a trailer that they get to use on their little trip.
Oh, they have a
music, so.
nice music too. I'm just looking at their website right now.
Okay, Road Trip Adventure.
Yeah.
I'll take a look.
Yeah,
Thank
it's
you.
in pianopronto.com. Yeah, Jennifer Eklund.
It looks like Piano Pronto is in, they work with Kitty Keys too.
Yeah, it's all connected there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm just putting some the links there in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I often do things like music and movement. So I'll just play some songs that I know. I used to teach kinder music too, so got a lot of ideas from that as well. But yeah, there's so many things you can draw from. And did you have any?
No, you covered everything. A few of them I'm familiar with, but I'm gonna look into it. So thank you for sharing. Yeah, you have some really great ideas, especially for young children, whether in person or online,
Doesn't she? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. I have a little puppet too. Even the older kids loved, young at heart, what can I say?
Yeah. Even the adult students I have, they love all the emotes in musicology.
Right.
Just, good job, and they just laugh. So.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so great. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm going to stop the recording now.